Today is Monday, November 13th, 2023, and the time is 6:01 p.m. I'd like to call the regular Finance Personnel Committee meeting to order. Myself, Mike Capper is present. Donnie Kern present.
Chris Duback, present.
And look at the minutes from October 11th meeting.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of October 11th as presented.
Motion from Chris, you have a second?
I'll second motion.
Second from Donnie. Discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, same sign. We could get the library report from Christina.
Hey guys. Hi. Well, there is so much going on at the library right now. The silent auction is happening and that goes until the 17th. Our friends in the library support that auction. This year we have 138 items. So that is, I think, double that for what we had last year. So we're counting on some great bids for those items because we're planning on those items and those proceeds supporting our programs in 2024. As our friends of the library help with events like that. Unfortunately, some bad news for the library that we have a boiler issue. Luckily, we have 2 boilers at the library. And so one of them is still working, but we are needing to get the second one repaired. So we're just waiting on that.
What is the issue, Christina?
I wish I could understand it a little bit more. I think there's like a computer interface that they told me that needs to be replaced. So now we're looking at this facility being 4 years old. So of course it's not in warranty anymore. And there is a motor on one of the boilers also that has failed. So
Nothing too major then, right?
Right. I think it's all going to be very fixable. Yep. So just kind of happens. They were saying, the HVAC guy was saying sometimes since 2020, there's just been some bad parts that come around. So I think hopefully we'll just get past this and get some good products in there. So, and have a good longevity there. Yeah, we had a wonderful baklava program. A couple of volunteers came in and taught that last Thursday. So that was cool to happen in our maker space. So yeah, Lots of good programs too. I know, Mike, you had asked me to kind of touch on library funding and how that works. So I can always go into more detail about it, but if I can kind of summarize it, that so library is funded by like, donations, friends of library fundraisers. We have generated a little bit of our own funds too, with like when you come to the library and you print with our copy machine. So those types of funds as well. And then the two biggest funds that we use are the Village of Somerset, as you guys are owners of the library. And then the other fund is county funding. And county funding, there's actually a formula that is determined in how the library is funded, where you take the total expenditures, so that all the expenses for a library, so I'll be calculating this in January. So I'll take the total expenditures for 2023 and I'll divide that by the amount of checkouts. So when people come on check out books at the library, and with that, we get a cost per checkout. And we take that cost per checkout and we multiply it by the amount of people who are living in the municipalities outside the library, so not in the village. And that's how county funding is determined. But the good thing about when you as a Village of Grants or Village of Somerset invest in the library, your total investment is counted in those expenditures. And so it drives up the cost per, checkout. And so in a couple of years, you'll see those monies from the county increase if the village keeps increasing ever so slightly the amount it invests in the public library. Does that help a little bit explain how that works, or any questions about that?
I'm still a deer in the headlights on it, but
It is, but it's like, if you think about what matters with libraries, like the total money we spend and the amount of people checking out materials is how the county funding is determined.
Is there any programs to help get more people to come check things out? Anything that we can help with?
Well, I think that, like we promote the library and we have our marketing and we try, like the chamber is helpful to us as well. But I find that like people word of mouth, if you say, hey, did you know there's a program at the library for baklava, and like, that might not, we don't necessarily get funding for those programs, but we get people to come into the door and to use the library. And really, that's what we want to give to the community, for them to use the library and the resources that we have there. So they might, end up checking out materials or maybe they're going to use the computer or copy services, or maybe connect with their neighbors, have a meeting there. So there's all different possibilities that the library can provide for them there.
Is there a way to monetize all the people that sit outside the library all hours of the day and night to use the free Wi-Fi?
I wish there was. No, but we do get a record of how many Wi-Fi uses there are, and that is all recorded in the state report at the end of the year.
So it does help. Good.
Yeah, we get the numbers, just not extra coins for that.
Yeah, gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for
Anything else, Christina?
No, but I'm always around, so.
Okay, I will come see you hopefully this week.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Impact fee report.
So 3 more since last month. And I did add the numbers on the side. And then
Two capstone and 1 growing wings.
where's that at?
Growing wings.
No, I'm saying, where's the impact?
It was at the top of my packet.
After the library report.
It's not here. It's stuck it out. Last year we had 40. And for 3 over that right now.
Is that what we said was last year was 40?
I think it was 40.
Yes,
40 or 41.
we're on the same.
Nothing in. And nothing in November so far?
There have been, there was 2 picked up today, but. I did this on the 8th, so.
Oh, that's fine.
And then the price for growing wings, is that because
They're commercial.
commercial is different?
Mhm, yeah. So it's number of hookups as well. So. Maybe times 4.
And do me a favor, just explain something to me on that second page. It says 2022 ending balance, 195,311.16, and 2023 fund total 246. So there was, am I reading this right? There was 50,854, and then there was an addition in 2022 of 195,311, leaving it for 2023 fund total of 243.
246, yeah.
246, sorry. And,
That's just for the water,
yeah, each
Yeah.
one corresponds all the way down, right?
right? Yep. So the
What if
50
they,
is what we've collected this year. And then
well, there was,
with the beginning balance,
pardon?
so the 50,854 is what's been collected this year.
And so
And
I
then-
see that with the parks, there was nothing that was collected
Yeah,
this
because we
year,
don't collect on parks.
but there were 6849 the year before. Was that just a
It's
anomaly?
just a carryover from a previous impact fee where they collected for parks. That's what's left over to be spent. We don't collect for parks anymore.
Since this impact fee has been set up, right?
Correct.
Same thing with water and sewer, right?
For sewer only.
I'm sorry, what's WWPT?
That would be wastewater treatment plant.
Was there a way that we can, does that parks need to be on there along with sewer?
Well, only because there's still a balance in there. I can take the sewer ones off.
No, I was curious if there was a reason why are we looking to put something into that, into this next, when we revise, and start looking at our impact fees? Is that something we'd be looking at, is putting in parks and looking at possibly putting in sewer, or
We cannot collect for sewer.
okay, so that should be removed.
That,
then.
I'll take that off.
Same thing with WWTP?
Yep,
Okay. But there's a possibility we could look at parks and or
Mhm.
add something else, right?
Yep.
Cause like, if the library is probably not gonna be one that we'll be having on next, unless
right.
we determine that we wanna do something else with that, right?
Yep.
Okay,
The park is something we should probably think about and discuss about adding in the future.
Mhm.
In the past, before it got. And what kind of rate was it, or how much per,
For total, on the
total,
the total impact fee used to be $5,620. And now it's 1940.
okay, and out of that 1940, about how much of it used to be?
Well, I'd have to look there.
Small percentage.
Yeah,
It adds up over time
yeah.
to help.
Well,
and that's been since 2012, I think you said, right?
2010.
So no money has been going into parks since the 2000.
We're in Tuskegee too.
Streets get 141, police get 192, library gets 468, fire 57. Four parks are getting nothing right now.
Mhm.
We could probably bring them to the party. Is that something we want to maybe put on next month's agenda?
That would be part of the needs assessment that we talked about last month with ISG, who's doing the facility assessment for the entire village. We'll take that information and then provide it to Ellers or whoever the village decides to contract with to do an impact fee needs study.
Okay,
Mhm. So,
You think that timeline is, something that we could probably look at before, groundbreaking next spring?
well, we're actually meeting with ISG on Wednesday,
Right?
staff, to look over what they have collected as far as their report, and then I thought their timeline was 3 to 6 months, so it should be doable.
is their report that they shared with us, is that available to the public? I don't know.
I'd have to ask them. If I a lot of information out there and
Yeah,
like
$10 million for new buildings.
the state, each building. Yeah,
Is there
I
a
can find
special
out on-
meeting that needs to happen with the needs, to establish a needs assessment to get approved by the board? What's the problem?
a special meeting?
Well, yeah, okay, so it just held at a regular meeting
Mhm.
and.
There may be a public hearing that has to happen.
Right,
So it could be a couple meetings that it would occur over.
the goal would be a good goal, to maybe say by March, we could start having public meetings on what we think, or what, the department heads in the village and everybody think, and Ellers, and, I mean, that's
I-
giving you
I
4
can't.
months.
I can't answer that. Without knowing what the full process is for the either study or complete redo.
Who would have that, knowledge?
Probably Ellers.
So maybe Ellers next month, maybe we could talk to him about that.
Mhm.
And get that, by that time, you guys have met with him probably, and he could pretty much establish a timeline of what needs to
Well,
be
we
done.
gotta do the other company first.
ISG,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
But I mean, we could still talk to him about, the
Yeah.
timeline, right?
Yeah.
Maybe a future, agenda item next month, but you Ellers on that needs assessment.
Yes. Agreed. Anything else on the impact fees report, or can we move on to the department head meeting report? Department head meeting report?
We met on November 1st and pretty much this time of year, all we talk about is budget, so. Yeah, we call, Christina, do you remember if there was anything else that we talked about? Besides the budget?
I know there was, and I'm just kind of blanking. I think or not Mike, Bob gave us an update on the roads,
Yeah.
so that took a little bit. Um, yeah, it's always good to get together and stuff too, so.
Thank you.
That's it, you did.
That's it.
That's it. 2023 budget debate and fund balances.
In 2023, we're showing an interest income budget of 6,000, but there was no interest income log for 2023.
It comes at the end of the year.
So that's a year-end deal. Are we gonna be on budget for that then?
Yes,
For the balance for capital improvements, minus 1.9 million.
that would be, the project. All the projects. Coming through there. Not really one thing, in the bill.
But that money's coming back in there from somewhere else then,
Yep,
and that's from money from the state that we'll get, or?
that would be, from that borrowing that we did.
Bond.
And the Apple River Bridge of $1 million in the negative.
That would be the bridge construction, so I just have to pull from one account to another.
Which account does that come from then?
From the savings difference that we have. For the bridge. This
So-
is all just our general checking,
Okay,
so,
so do we have a sheet for the general savings?
well, there is a general savings here. There's a separate fund for that bridge fund. It's that $1.6 million.
Okay. I guess is there a way that we can see like everything?
This is. I can show you whatever. I would not want to put it on this report just because this is what the money we have to pay the bills. That's a separate fund that is only earmarked for certain things, so.
But how many different funds are earmarked for different things, you know, for the Apple River Bridge?
The Apple River Bridge is really the one that, and the, ARPA fund. That's that money that's set aside for the squad car and,
And there's still that much
Fire
in the American Rescue, whatever fund,
yeah,
but that's before the tender of 173,000, whatever. So there's still gonna be close close to 65,000 left in, ARPA.
Yep.
And then the Apple River Bridge,
Mhm.
in that savings that's earmarked, how much is in that account?
It's. There's a CD. That, I don't know the name on the top of my head. And there's a savings account. So total is 1.6 million.
And then any other funds that are in, earmarked for other things?
No.
Well, and then
Besides, well, I'll take that back, there's the storage equipment replacement fund. But that's specifically for the treatment plant.
Quick question.
Mhm.
Under miscellaneous revenues, you have 126,626 transferred in under the budget from the water utility. That hasn't happened yet.
That's audit entry that won't show up until April or May of next year.
But is that actual transfer from water utility or is that just an adjustment on the numbers?
It's the actual transfer.
Okay, but that won't happen until April of next year.
Mhm.
And you also have under general tax revenue, I'm sorry, state shared taxes, budgeted 246 and received 67. Are you looking to hit the budget on the 179,000?
It comes 2 times,
Mhm.
once in July and the other November 20th. So once the second portion comes, we'll be at 100%.
November 20th. That'll take care of our budget deficit. Right now, it's showing a $301,000 shortfall on the status, but those two numbers will bring that up. So that we'll be at budget and with a surplus then, right,
Mhm.
for 2023?
Yep.
That's all I wanted to know.
landscape ordinance, 62,500.
That. Donnie had asked long ago for me to add in how many of those we've collected. Well, that's, if they don't put in their yards, we can use that money to
So for,
put it in,
okay,
and if not,
How
then
long
we'll
ago
get
did-
refunded.
how long ago did that start?
When did you guys pass that? May
In the
or-
spring. I would say it was in the
May.
spring.
Well, it was. Count back 25 on the impact
25.
fees.
25 for me. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that got put in there because
July.
some people weren't just getting their lawns and everything put in, so that
What?
some people weren't getting their.
Well, it was getting landscaping, but also tree or, putting trees and stuff like that in, so we asked them to put aside an amount that was agreed upon by the inspector and the public works to set aside the money so that there was proper grading and everything done, or if it wasn't, then the village would take it on and take the monies out of that.
Perfect.
Just out of curiosity, has any of that been refunded?
Not yet.
None yet, huh?
Mhm.
Okay.
No, there's a process with that.
Has to be signed off by a building inspector before it can be refunded, but
Yeah.
I was just curious if any of, because in July,
Mhm.
I would think that 7 months they would be to a point where, at least right now, they'd be finishing up and possibly getting that money back.
Yeah,
I'm sure some of it will start coming back hopefully this year, if
I would
not
think
first
so.
part of next year.
Any other questions on that, or do you move on?
On the budget? Fund balance. How is the water utility and sewer utilities, is that budget's approved by committees?
Mhm.
You know when them are approved?
December.
Discussion possible recommendation, village fee schedule.
I did not have any time to work on that from last month.
Just a few. changes on there.
You guys wanted me to go through and find all the fees that were not related to ordinances? And bring those back.
Correct. Is there an estimated time on when that might be able to get
I'll
done?
have it for December.
It'll be put on the agenda for December.
Mhm.
Or would that reflect with any of the, current stuff that we're dealing with the, agenda for like tomorrow?
Yeah, are we looking to be able to approve that for 2024? With
The
the
fee
updated,
schedule?
yeah, with updated pricing,
Mm-mm.
no,
We won't approve it for 2024?
That, I can go, I mean, you could do that anytime, it doesn't have to. Are you thinking with the budget, that it has to correlate with that? Mm-mm.
go to December agenda, discussion possible recommendation, 2023 tax collection agreement.
So, we need. Contract with St. Clair County Treasurer to collect the January, real estate and personal property taxes. And there's a $2 per parcel fee that has been charged. That fee has not gone up in the last, say, at least 4 years. So this is just our annual agreement.
The price is fixed, same as last year,
Mhm.
so you need a recommendation for approval?
Yep.
So move.
For a second,
Yep, a second.
discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Should I sign this copy or a different? copy?
No, it's gotta go to the
It's gotta
board.
go to the board.
Discussion possible approval of 2024 health insurance renewal.
So, Health Partners is our current plan. Our current provider, their increase of 14% was the best option.
So where's that?
It's got this little symbol here.
Okay, so
We offer two plans. It's about $17,000 more per year. Because
On 341,000?
Well, you can't take one or the other. Because some people have one plan and some people have the other, but it works out to be about 17,000 more than 2023.
It's the 2 pages on
That's, yep, that's page,
the,
So as a percentage, what is that an increase in on your total?
14.
Pardon?
It's 14% increase overall. But then the
On-
village pays a portion and the employee pays a portion.
But so it's going up 14%.
Mhm.
In your portion's going up 14%, the village portion's going up 14%, right?
Yep.
So the total amount of that on the health insurance is a percentage of the total package of benefits.
Mhm.
What's the percentage of that total benefits on that?
Say that one more time?
So you have, last year we put a benefit in, I
Mhm.
believe it was an additional benefit because we anticipated we were gonna see a 10% increase, right? But we didn't see the 10% increase, so we used that money and you guys bought a different benefit, right?
The life insurance.
Right,
Mhm.
so you got life insurance and you got this and you got A&S and so on and so forth, right? And dental. And I'm just asking as a 14% increase,
Mhm.
what is that a percentage of your total benefit package? You know, say, is that 50% of your total benefit package, you're looking at 14% increase? Or is that 75% of your benefit package, 14% increase?
Probably 75. I would have to sit down and figure that out, what the breakdown. But the health insurance is the biggest benefit of the entire benefit package.
And just curious, not trying to upset the apple cart here, because I respect everybody's health insurance benefits, but was this shopped with any other carriers? What the other carriers come in at?
Higher,
What were they?
I'd have to pull up the email
Okay,
to get it.
okay, what other carriers were they shopped with?
Medica and there was another one. So,
So this is Health Partners?
Health Partners, yeah.
The Health Partners at 14%, Medica is, and then you don't know what the other one is?
Mhm.
Those were the 3 that were shopped, is Health Partners,
Medica.
Renewal, Medica, and somebody unknown,
Do you want me to go grab the?
please.
14% of 120,000 is about 17,000, so we're going from 120,000, 137,000.
Where do you see that?
That's my math,
Would you verify that with her?
yeah.
Because I don't know what your math is. No offense. Not have a discussion about this, though. I thought they said that it was 10% that they were anticipating it was going to be at.
United Healthcare, Anthem, and Medica. And they were all higher. She didn't tell me how much higher.
It's built through
Big,
Jacob
mhm.
Goldman.
No, she does not. She still runs it, but she doesn't. do all
I'm seeing 2 premiums here on this HSA plan.
that. Yep,
On this quote or this bid or this renewal. Is that what the new numbers are?
That, yeah,
What were they this last year?
286, 281, 281,000.
For the total,
Mm-hmm.
281?
Yep.
Plus 14%, right? Is that factored into your budget numbers then, or is that the, why we got the new numbers here today? This time?
The reason why I got the new numbers is because I put the 8,700 in the tubing one.
Okay.
The 14% is factored into the budget number that you have in front of you.
What's the split between the employee and the village?
It's 90-10 for the higher deductible. If you choose the lower deductible, it's 88-12.
For the 3,200?
Yep.
Is that factored into by, because of the contract that we got with the police, or, you know, that percentage split? So that everybody's across there, so we're
Mhm.
basically following the police department and their contract, and
Yeah.
everybody's covered the same way.
Yep.
I get it. The unfortunate part about it is, that's covered by the collective bargaining agreement, there isn't a whole heck of a lot we can do about it, is there?
Right.
We have to maintain certain amount of benefit thresholds, is that what we're saying? And by shopping these different companies, you basically got the best of the.
Yep.
Of the deal.
Without changing, because if we change the plan design, then they.
They would be
have the-
carved out of the group.
And they can say no. If we do any changes to the plan design, they can say, no, we don't. We don't accept that,
When we say they, you're referring to
the
the,
union.
oh, well, of course, the union's not gonna say,
Mhm.
yeah, we agree to lower benefits. I mean, I'm not saying or advocating that they should, for crying out loud. What I'm saying is that they'd be carved out of the group,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well.
and the non-bargaining unit could be at a different rate, right?
Mhm.
Have we looked at that?
Not really.
Is there a reason why?
They haven't asked to be taken out.
No, I'm
And
not
nobody
asking,
has asked
no, I'm
to
saying as
look
stewards
at
of
different
the
rates.
taxpayers' money, I'm just asking the question, is have we looked at, you know, modifying the group benefits to reduce the threshold from 14% down to maybe a 10% margin? Is what I'm asking.
Without changing the plan design.
You could change the plan design. but
Or
then
the
you'd
plan
carve out
offering, then you would kick out the police union and then there would be.
Well, they'd still have their
There'd
benefits.
be employee morale issues because. You know, why is one better than the other?
Well, I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying on morale or anything like that, but, I just asked if we looked at that,
No.
because next year's contract is up too, right?
Is it next year?
Yes.
Yeah, at the end of next year.
Hmm.
Because everybody's deductibles and co-pays are going up.
And
Every
these
year.
did go, I mean, the actual deductible amount went up, so. They both went up $200 from 2023.
So the
So
increase,
every year, the amount coming out of the employee's pocket for deductibles has also gone up.
Okay, so there was an increase in deductibles.
Mhm.
Okay, I thought what you said was, well, this was, the same plan as last year because,
Oh,
because it was, we
Yeah.
gotta stay with.
no,
the
for
police
23, it
unions.
was 3,000 and 4,800, and now for 24, it's 3,200 and 5,000.
Got it.
So.
It'd be nice to at least look at going forward. And I'll say this with all the utmost respect of all of the employees that work for the village about looking at different types of medical group plans and plan designs as far as not just, this plan as HSA, but different offerings for like if you, right now, is there any money going into the HSA on behalf by the village?
Mhm.
Right, and has that changed?
No,
Is that going to change?
nope.
Can that change?
I could.
Okay, so really, if you raise the deductibles
Mhm.
and you put more money into their HSA to offset that cost, how would that be a bad morale booster or a bad morale thing?
It,
Because,
it wouldn't.
okay, so that's what I'm saying is that, if the actual premiums were offset by reducing the benefits, and a portion of that went back to the employees to offset those benefit reductions, that would be a win-win for everybody.
Right,
And has that ever been looked at?
No.
Okay, and that's what I'm saying. I would suggest that maybe next year, a little more, looking into that, because I'm dealing with that right now in my company about different plan designs and everything else, and I was on the phone for 2.5 hours today over that same thing, and they've offered, like I could get a better dental plan for my guys if I, with the savings that I'm having for this, so I say, do you guys want a better dental plan and fix your teeth, or you wanna keep the health insurance, that gives the employees a little more say in how they wanna see their benefits laid out for
Mhm.
the same cost, really.
It has been mentioned, couple times by some employees to offer a stipend to not take health insurance too. So that's something that can be looked at
They
as
do
well.
get a stipend for not taking health insurance. Yeah, they're not taking anything off their check for a
Yeah.
health insurance premium.
Yeah,
That's a stipend too.
yeah.
So how many have the insurance right now?
All full-time employees.
All full-time employees.
Mhm.
So what
I think
would that stipend be?
I have no idea.
But they,
And
once they're,
Tasia said the school offers it, the school district of Somerset.
but I don't think that
offers
would be legal under the healthcare affordability.
That's what I thought too, but apparently it is, as long as they provide proof that they have insurance.
Well, only if it was
Healthcare.
grandfathered under a grandfather plan prior to the ACA being enacted. Yes, that's why I'm pretty sure if you check into that, if you had that stipend in place prior to ACA, they kept it in place if you could do that, but I don't think there was an offering under the ACA going forward.
Sure.
Because it would
I
violate
didn't think, I
law,
thought it was no longer allowed
right?
to do that, so,
I'm pretty sure that's the way that worked, but
okay.
we can have Paul check into it. For next
I
year.
can ask Jay Connor too.
Okay, unfortunately, I think we're kind of stuck with this plan
Mhm.
and the design for next year. I'm just saying, I would like to see if we could do something a little better for the guys all the way around the board.
Yeah.
Rather than just continuing to increase the cost that goes up every year. If we say, hey, we could do this different, they might say, hey, you know what, that worked out.
Mhm.
It's happened to a couple other places. So you need a motion on that,
Yep,
or?
I need
Huh?
a recommendation.
I'll make a recommendation to approve the healthcare renewal for group number 23-258 on the 2024 plans as provided to us with the stipulation that going forward, alternatives would be looked at and provided to us at least 2 months prior to the renewal date.
I didn't even get this 2 months prior to the
I'm
renewal
talking-
date.
I'm talking about different options.
Oh, different
of
option, okay.
Coverage.
The-
I'm not saying your renewal notes. I'm
Right.
talking different, we start looking in months in advance saying, here's the different options,
Yeah.
coverage and carriers and blah, blah,
So-
blah.
According
months
to
prior.
J Counter, the companies have to have their numbers, their renewals out October 1st. But we didn't get, I talked to Amber at J Counter about the other 3 carriers on October 26th. And she had just gotten the numbers from those other people.
Mhm.
So,
And correct me if I'm wrong, Donnie, but I mean, it could be, because right now everybody's under the same healthcare for the whole village.
mhm,
But the police union could be under one program, the public works union could be under another, and office staff could be under a third one.
the only union is the police union. There's no other unions, but so that everybody else would be under a different one.
Potentially.
Potentially, but it's
I don't know if they could
it's probably
get,
worth shopping,
Yeah, doesn't have to look into it.
right?
I guess what I'm saying is having the conversation a little bit, we're saying, what other options do we have? Let's look at this, what kind of, how can we bend the curve, so to speak? Not necessarily to take benefits away from the employees or staff, because I'm not in favor of that, but I am in favor of having their opportunity for them to make, decisions on how they want to receive them benefits. And if they all collectively would look at it from a standpoint of saying, you know what? Maybe, a higher deductible and an offset with that. And then we'll take the risk, or maybe we're healthy and we don't need that. We can raise the deductible and put more HSA, and that HSA stays with them. And they can continue to, advocate that way. That might be something where we could lower our cost as a village, lower their cost on the premium end of it. And the risk is minimal at best, depending on, age related and such.
right,
That's my recommendation, is to look at alternatives and benefit structures and stuff, at least 2 months prior to these renewals coming in.
But you're saying you may not have the information you need?
You won't have the numbers.
The plans will be,
By December first, they want to have this, so we'd be sitting here in November. And I, right now, am dealing with numbers in January. So they said they can't give me January's numbers until the end of October, so in November, that's why I'm talking right now. So I can confidently say that you can modify and look at things and get numbers 2 months in advance. I'm not trying to put, undue burden or unachievable, discussions out there. I think 2 months is something. 3 months would be really hard, because the health insurance carriers won't quote that, and can't get numbers that early.
right.
Donnie's got a motion on the floor,
I'll second.
Chris seconds, further discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Discussion possible recommendation, 2024 dental insurance renewal.
Okay, so this one is a 0% increase from 23 to 24.
And argue with that.
What was last year's budget?
17, 14 a month.
$14 a month.
Mhm.
just under $100 per person. Is that, cost sharing, or is that,
The
same as-
village covers that 100%.
say there were some changes with, one of the companies I was just talking with. And I was able to get a, benefit, unlimited for, my employees and me, because I'm also an employee of the company I work for. It's unlimited, $50 deductible. And the prices are comparable to what we're just offering, what are being offered here, but there's no maximum, individual annual maximum.
Mhm.
Might be worthwhile for us to put that, and I'll approve this today, but I'd like to put that out as if there's a better option out there for a comparable price, because this was just offered this year, and I jumped on it right away. So if you can get a unlimited max instead of a 1,500 max on a dental plan, why would we not take advantage of that if it's the same price?
Sure.
So I'll move to approve this with the same stipulation of alternatives being offered. If they're better than what's currently being offered, then we can move into that plan.
Months prior, you said?
I don't know if it's necessary prior. If we find that right now, are we obligated to this for an annual 1-year contract?
Mhm.
This is an annual contract, not a month to month.
Correct.
Yeah. That's what my motion is, 2 months prior.
That alternatives will be explored.
I think they should be. Because, the guys could be missing out on a benefit increase right now that we can't offer to them because of this annual contract. The one that I signed up for is month to month. We paid a bill, you get the coverage.
Yeah, I'll second that.
First and second, discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 20-year discussion, possible recommendation, 2024 wages.
I did make some corrections to the 2023 current wages for the library.
So I have 2 of these in my, I don't know if they're both the same. I'm guessing they might be just a secondary copy, is that?
I changed, if you look at the custodian under the library,
It's old.
Oh, that was a custodian, this was 17, okay.
yeah,
Bump that one.
Do you know what that translates with the library board as far as percentage of wage increases? Is it the same thing with the police with their, step grades and such? Is that their base? But, on tenor as a librarian, which means they would be at a certain rate type deal?
mhm.
And maybe, I don't know. Christina's still on there?
Mhm.
If she could just touch base on that, because you got some people that.
Yeah, I'm not following that question. Can you say that again, Donnie?
Yes, so like with the assistant librarians, I was asking if there was a schedule or something that you were following with regards to giving, the increases like that based on tenure as a librarian?
Right. So what we based that on is we belong to like a listserv for libraries. And so they were going out and advertising other positions in neighboring libraries. At those were the starting wages, and then all of our staff, I mean, I think I've just been there 3 years, but the rest of the staff has been there, other than the custodian and our high school kid. like 5 years. So some of them have been there. Meg's been there 8 years. So yeah, so that was like, oh, I guess. And so then I asked all the other neighboring library directors and like, yeah, this is what they're paying, starting wages. It's increased a lot because I don't know if you're finding that in your businesses too, that you're just having to pay out more to retain employees, keep employees as well. I don't know.
Yeah, because I noticed like the librarian director was, kind of a person, I can kind of, you see it's like a percentage of, kind of similar to 3%. Same thing with the custodian, but then the other ones were significantly increased, and I was like, I didn't know if that was based on their tenure, kind of like the police chiefs or, police unions where you get so many years, you get to this rate, and so I can see where that jump, but you're saying that this is based on need, right?
What other libraries are paying, so that we don't have them.
Want to lose all your librarians, right?
Right.
Exactly, like especially those years of experience, like that would set us back quite a bit when people
Well,
leave.
Kind of takes a heck of a chunk out of your budget, doesn't it?
Yeah, fortunately, because of the another really complicated thing, but the Hudson Joint Library ceased to exist anymore. And so the county is now going to be funding Somerset Library what they should have been funding them all along when the Hudson Joint Library was there. So a huge increase for county funding, and you can see that in your revenue. And then we've also just got really creative with asking the Friends of the Library, hey, can we take the programs out of our regular library operations budget, and can you fund those this year? Those types of things are what we're trying to do.
Thanks for that clarification.
Sure, thanks for asking.
So I noticed on here, you said 3% cost of living adjustment needs to be applied by resolution. So on this deal, if we were to approve this and we submitted a resolution to the full board as a recommendation, then the full board would have to vote on that as a approval and a recommendation for an increase. And when was the last time that the
2019.
2019?
Mhm.
So it's been it'll be 3 years going on 4
Mhm.
without an increase on any of the trustee or elected positions, right?
Yep. You want to ask when the time before that was?
If
Before
you're
I
offering.
started.
If you're offering.
So. Long time.
Election inspector, $11, chief election inspector, $13.
Mhm. That's for 2023.
That seems awfully low.
Mhm.
Is that,
It's the going rate. And we actually provide more than most municipalities. They don't get paid for training and they don't get meals. So,
but so what is the budget? I think we looked at it, but what is the budget for the election inspector and the chief election inspector? I mean, do they come in once or twice?
It's all
a year,
factored with
maybe?
this increase, isn't
it
it?
depends on how many
Yeah, but I'd like to
elections
jump
there
it up.
are. It depends on the number of elections. So 2024, there's potential of 4 elections.
So if we went to like $15 and $17 or something like that.
I would have to change the budget.
By how much? How much would that affect it? Because
Well,
$11 and $13 to me just doesn't seem.
well, it'd be a percentage of the elections. How many chief inspectors you have? One.
There's 2 per election.
So if you increase by 5%, you'd be increasing it basically by 5% on the budget, right?
Mhm.
I'd still like to include these guys in the resolution, but.
I've already increased them 3%. It's only these four right here that are in the resolution.
3% brings them up to 1133 and 1330,
1339.
which I don't, a Holiday gas station pays a heck of a lot more than
Would you like to see an increase in your election pay?
Honestly, yes.
a.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially the chief, that's a lot of work, a lot of stress.
Mhm.
But I haven't done research to know, like I said, what other municipalities pay.
Would you have a
It doesn't seem
problem
awfully low
bumping that up
compared
at all?
to any other job out there,
Mhm.
but it is a
Well,
volunteer.
5% would be an additional, $375 against the budget. According to these numbers right now. That would be the budget change number.
$375.
I took 665, and 30,000, and that's 9,500, multiplied that by 5%. Actually 105%, so that's 9,975 instead of 9,500, which would be $475, sorry, I misspoke. For a 5% increase of those numbers.
Any idea, those were just raised a year or two ago, right?
Mhm.
You're saying 5% from the $11 or the 1133?
It'd be 1189. What do you want to move it to? I'm just saying
He said
5%.
15 and 17.
I threw those numbers out there to make it sound more like what people are paying around here, or just meaningless jobs. Not, I shouldn't say meaningless jobs, but pay kids more than that.
I'll figure out the numbers, you guys just give me
It'd be a,
the more you
it'd be
want.
at 30, at 15.
I just want it to be fair.
That'd be $2. So at 15 and 1639. Sorry, 1739. 30. It'd be a 30% increase. So on
So you
9,500.
wanna do that 15 and 17?
He's just figuring out the numbers right now.
$28.50 extra on the budget. But 30% increase. That would be running it at 15 and 1739. Or just $2 and
Are you able to, you probably not able to vote on this? Or, would that be a conflict if you,
Good question.
Well, she is an election inspector, but you haven't been appointed for 2024 yet.
Correct.
It's up to
You
you.
better
I
say,
did.
I'm sorry, I don't wanna close the door next year.
would you like to make a motion?
you got a specific thing you can make a motion to. I'm not even seeing what you're saying here, but
Well,
I just gave you the numbers. It'd be looking at an additional 28.50. On those at 15 and 17. That's my quick math as a additional cost to the budget.
I was gonna make a motion to approve the 2024 wages as presented, except for the election inspector at $15 and the chief election inspector at $17.39 for 2024.
I will abstain.
Are you saying,
Well-
are you saying anything with regards to
You-
the cost of living adjustments too for the resolution? Or you want to have that all in this, or you want to approve the wages and do the cost of living as a separate?
Right, that might be better.
Okay, then I'll second that.
Discussion? Are you able to, should we separate the motion? So that way she can
I
vote on
think we
that?
did.
You already.
We just did.
You already did.
Okay,
Your motion was to increase 15 and 17. I seconded it. Otherwise, the proposed as presented was seconded, and I'm calling for the question.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion to increase, I'll make a motion to provide a cost of living adjustment of 3% to the elected positions by resolution, recommend a resolution of 3% provided to the board.
I'll second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
My ears.
Sorry.
Sorry. Discussion possible recommendation 24 proposed budgets.
So this, what you're looking at minus the adjustment to the election. Wages is $1.42 increase on $100,000 value.
$1.42 per 100,000
For 100,000,
for 2024.
yes. I'll have to make some adjustments, but.
So I understand a $200,000 home would be looking at $2.84. Okay,
Increase
$2.84 in
Increase,
their
yeah.
tax increase, right?
for the village,
That's right, for the village.
not.
A
the
300,000,
whole tax
I
bill.
understand that, a 300,000, we're not talking about the county. I'm
Right.
saying the village tax roll, we're talking $2.84
Yeah,
on a
$200,000.
$200,000 house, and on a $300,000 house, we're talking about $4.26.
Yeah.
So less than $5 for the year.
Yeah,
Want to have that for the record.
that's before your increase in the election.
So I want to know what the increase is going to be with
Mhm.
increasing the election officials and the trustees.
Okay. Well, the
Well, the
trustee
trustees
increase
won't
won't
go
go
into
in this
effect
budget,
until-
I understand that.
Yeah.
I
so
understand
it
that.
won't affect that.
I still want to know
number.
what it's going to be.
Yeah, it won't affect that number that I just gave them. $1.42.
What would the additional cost be though?
Right.
Is what I want to know, because it will go into effect in next year's budget.
For 25.
Right, so if everybody's going, well, he voted himself in an increase, I didn't, I just want
Nobody
to treat
is.
everybody, I want to treat everybody the same. And that's what I'm saying, is that everybody should be, able to, look at this and say, you've been treated the same as everybody else.
Mhm.
The morality on that side of it has its factions as well.
Mhm. This also includes the extra 25,000 in park capital improvements. That the Public Works Committee recommended. Which is under. On the. Backside of. Which number was that?
What's the page number?
I'm trying to get it back. So 6, 7, 8. Doesn't actually have a page number on
So second to last page.
it. Yep. Second to last line on that page, park improvement. That's where the 25,000 was added.
That goes into capital outlay.
Mhm.
So you're saying in 2024, there's 35,000 set in for capital outlay.
Correct. For parks.
I know it. Mike, you had put a survey out on Facebook on that, and it showed I believe it was 40%. For updating the parks, if the money was spent, and then I believe there was 17% for, fixing the roads. And then there was 11% for a dog park.
Correct.
And the rest of it was, you know, 1s and 2%, but,
Correct.
you know, it's good to know that I think where we put the money is kind of where the constituents is looking for us to have it put to, is where you got 51% on a dog park or park improvements, so I think it's a money well allocated to that area. Now, I just gotta charge the committee to figure out where we're gonna fix it, and what we're gonna do with it.
Mhm.
One last question on this budget. If, the next year, when the people come, the next term of officers come in, won't they be at the different salary?
Good point.
So I think it will come into play, I believe, in
After
May,
April.
in May? Is it when, because they begin in April,
Well, they start April 16th. That's when the new term.
might need to make some adjustments on the budget for that too.
That's a good point.
My question,
Take it out of the village board training money.
They ain't gonna come out of wages.
That was
because you already
Good
approved
joke.
it.
so,
A Christmas party, that's what, right?
There you go.
Take it out of that Christmas party.
Yep. Yes, Mike.
I'm still not quite understanding so the police department has a budget, library has a budget, office has a budget. But with public works, some of the wages and other things come out of
Water and
water.
sewer. Mhm. Which are not part of the tax levy, that's why they're not, we're not talking about the water and sewer portion of it. This is only what
Right.
comes out of the general fund. There's,
It just seems, that's, I don't know, like, it seems to me like it's a slush fund and you can.
it is not a slush fund. The revenues that are created from the water and sewer bills are used to fund the water and sewer utility. There,
But we as the board don't even see that or know what. That's why I'm just confused, because it doesn't
You're,
seem,
so at the last board meeting, April was here and talked about the water and sewer utilities. Right?
yeah,
So that is basically an annual report. If you want me to include monthly, water and sewer budgets in with the general, I can start doing that. It's basically what comes in is spent. There's not really any other extras.
but so like my question is, how do we know what the total public works budget is if we have no idea what's coming out of the water?
There's a difference though. There's public works, which is streets, sidewalks, snow removal, trash collection, recycling, weeds. There's parks. There's water, which is, doing all of the water meters, doing the reading, fixing the mains or whatever else. And then there's sewer, which is the treatment plant. So public works is only that portion. That's streets, sidewalks, refuse, recycling, stormwater would be in there too. Snow removal. So it's three separate departments.
I understand that,
Um,
but it's not,
It-
but it's still not part of the public works budget, so that's why I'm just
Because
confused and
it's
we
separate.
don't see any of those numbers.
Because it is a separate, it's a completely separate. Water and sewer are separate from public works.
But my question is, why don't we have that stuff in front of us too? Why don't we have all of the information in front of us if we're the personnel and finance committee? We can look at all the numbers and just,
So like I said, if you want me to include the water and sewer budgets on the monthly report, I can start doing that.
I would like to see all the numbers.
Do you guys look at the water and sewer budgets every month, don't you? That's
On the
what-
bills and the budgets, just like we look at for a tax bill. Yes.
Yeah.
Those are supplied to us every month and they're also supplied to the board for recommendation
Mhm.
or approval based on their budgets and everything, right?
But the water isn't part of that though, hasn't been.
You're approving all the
Yeah,
water,
water.
sewer,
Water and sewer.
village
But just
bills every
it's-
month.
The bills too are laid out in there or just?
In the
total
village
amount?
board packet, yes, it's all bills, whether it's this fund, water, sewer.
Yeah, all right. Okay, I would still like to see that as part of the packet for personnel. and
Well, I
finance.
don't know why we're approving the budget in December for water and that wouldn't be put into this budget right here, you know.
Because this is only for the tax levy.
Okay.
These are the funds that are covered under the tax levy.
We
That
thought-
is what we approve in November.
So then here's my question on the salary end of it, where did that? I'll give you an example, page 3. Machinery, equipment and salary
Mhm.
was 3150 budgeted in 2022. Nothing in 2023 and nothing in 2024.
So
In-
that,
That's just one, but I wanna, if there was another one I seen, I just gotta find it here, just give me. bear
I
with
think
me.
all the salaries got removed.
no, they didn't.
The planning salary's still there, but,
Snow and ice removed.
There was,
salary.
Because, okay, I can just tell you right now, the salary lines are for the 2 salary positions. Under
Bob, right?
Public Works,
Jim and Bob.
Yeah,
Jim and Bob.
Yep.
Their salaries are allocated to streets. Water, sewer,
Right,
because that is, there's some for parks too.
sure.
Because they don't spend time on the machinery and equipment. That's what the guys do, the rest of the staff. They work on the machinery and equipment. So instead of allocating a little piece to every line item on this budget, we picked one,
Okay,
and that's where it all went.
I see.
So it's not like we're hiding.
No, I was just asking because I noticed, I'm just looking back to 2022, how garages and sheds and equipment and salary, or equipment and machinery had salaries,
Mhm.
but nothing in 2023 and nothing in 2020. I wasn't saying we're hiding anything.
Yeah,
I'm just saying those two, what happened that we had that back in 2022,
Right.
that we didn't do it in 23 and 24.
right.
I understand what you're saying because the other ones, street maintenance, those all have salaries on them,
Mhm.
but, that was my question.
Yeah.
As to why those two, there's nothing allocated towards that. And you just explained that by saying we just took and picked water or utility and put them in there.
Mhm.
sorry, there's a,
There's a little gnat.
no, yeah, one of the fox
Oh,
elder
right.
bugs or whatever was crawling around so I'm still a little confused though, but so like Bob as a Public Works Economic Development Director,
Mhm.
it doesn't have a lot to do with water, so how does his wages come out of water?
He is the Public Works Director, so he does spend time working with the water staff. He does spend time working with the sewer staff. So that's how it's allocated. And there is some of his salary in the economic development as well. It's a small portion. It's definitely not a huge chunk of his salary, but
Is it because there's just
my wages are
more money?
or my salary is split between general water and sewer because I do stuff for the tax levy side and I do stuff for the water and sewer. Not that I'm necessarily a water and sewer utility employee, but I am doing work for them.
Well, explain to me again why water isn't part of the budget,
Water,
part of like,
part of this budget, because the water collects the revenue to operate the water utility comes from the utility bills, not from the tax levy. So your property tax bill does not go anything towards the water utility or the sewer utility. The water and sewer budgets will be presented next month.
and it's still, so like, again, so when we approve the public works budget, that's not the total correct budget.
Yes, it
It is for the tax
The
levy.
tax levy
But
portion of it,
it's
but
not-
not of the overall.
Right, that one will be approved, I'm hearing, next month,
in December.
because we're talking about the tax levy right now.
Mhm.
Next month, we'll be talking about what the public works, water and sewer budget is.
Overall budget.
Overall budget.
That includes-
But it doesn't affect
that
these
includes the
numbers here,
water-
Mike.
That includes the water and everything with that budget,
The water and sewer each have their own budget, yeah.
But that
They'll
doesn't,
be-
that
they'll
doesn't
be-
affect these numbers here.
Right,
Water and sewers is a different deal. You can take these numbers and bring them, lay them alongside them, but it's anything that's done with those public works, water and sewer budgets is not gonna change these numbers.
This is just
You
the
know-
tax levy,
Pardon?
because this is just the tax levy.
okay. That makes sense, so
Complicated.
it'll be part of,
it is.
it'll be part of next month.
So we do have a couple things to look at on here.
Yeah.
And the one thing would be how the proposed, change would be with the, 3% and whether or not that's gonna affect the salaries for the village board.
Yeah.
That would be a prorated, I know it was, you had it set as a 0%. And then I also noticed, with like parks benefits was only at a 12% increase.
Mhm.
Now, if we're looking at a 14% increase, is that going to affect that? And should they all the benefits all reflect the 14%, or is that 75-25? Are we,
It depends on,
are we okay with being within 1 or 2%?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I'm not here to nitpick those. I just want to make sure that it wasn't good, at the end of the year, we're gonna be sitting here going, well, now you're not in budget now because you
Right.
didn't do the due diligence.
the village board salaries and the election salary, or we just, I have to correct it.
If it gets passed, that resolution.
Well, the election wages is not part of the resolution. That's separate.
What is covered under this planning contractual services?
That would be, MSA, what's the other company that we use for, that streeter guy. like
Okay.
That kind of stuff.
Okay, so the facility needs to have both, or?
That probably will just come out of capital improvement. One of the funds there.
Are we doing on fixing up the village hall? Has that been,
Then that assessment needs.
yeah. I'm thinking some painting and stuff in the meantime, before we spend.
I think Jared's been working back there on that. I guess that would be a Joel question. Let's see. Oh, actually, you can see the one post right there, he painted. It's no longer orange. Actually, it's really nice.
Anything's better than orange.
It's like a peachy. Oh, I feel like the bathroom, the women's bathroom door, it's the same color.
Yeah.
Well, you got 30,000 in municipal building other expenditures, is that? That's the lights and everything like that, right?
All the utilities, yeah.
Okay, but in 2023, we only had 18,000 there. I don't understand why that number come in. And we're budgeting 30,000, so I didn't know if there was some maintenance put maybe into that number too,
Mm,
or is that just utilities?
Municipal building other.
Yeah.
So 2022, we were at
28,
28, and for 2023 so far. Well, this was through August, it was 18.
okay. Well, we added 5,000 to it, that's why I didn't know if there was some monies put in there for fixing up, or that's just utility cost, right?
That's just-
Okay.
yeah.
20%.
Mhm.
Then, you know, next year, they were talking the same thing with building, revenues, and we were right now 40 on building,
Building permits?
building permits, but that's all paid out, right? Pretty
Yeah,
much.
that is offset by the collections.
Building inspector costs come in. Is that 100,
So the,
oh, okay, I found it, page 3.
mhm.
So we had budgeted 60,000 for that,
Mhm.
but we're already over a budget for this year
Yeah.
of, 60,000 by 17,000.
Mhm.
Are we just anticipating that because more building permits means more expenses means we're okay?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, they're correlated, so if there's more in
As a
expense,
percentage,
there's more
wise,
in
or not.
revenue.
as a percentage wise, they're not. So,
Right, because the village gets, $75 per new construction per permit.
Mhm.
Or $25 if it's a remodel, fence, sign, those types of permits.
Right,
So that's why it's not exactly equal.
sure. We're 77% up from our budget of 60,000 in receivables. However, we're only, in our expenses, we're only 39% up from our budget expense of 56,000.
Mhm.
So it's definitely tipped more towards the receiving end of it than it is the expenditure end of it,
Right,
which is probably where we'll end up again this next year.
Right.
You know, and I was looking at, you know, if there was a need of maybe putting a little bit more into that, but I don't, want you're hoping, you know. and-
yeah.
And that's
you
why
don't- You don't want to
over wish, right?
over budget for money coming in.
Right.
Yeah.
But it does help you balance the budget for this year.
It does,
It did for this year anyway,
Mhm.
$40,000.
yeah.
That's why we're in budget and with a surplus for this year,
Mhm.
or this, that I see so far, unless
Yep.
you're seeing something that I'm not
Mhm.
seeing, but.
Nope.
Which is kind of where we'll be at, I think, for this next year. I'm just looking at it, we take into account them increases as we laid them out there. There'll be some of that made up in those other areas.
Right.
To offset those, the recommendation of a 3% increase and so on and so forth, right?
Yeah.
That's asking a question, would be able to balance the budget that way?
Hopefully. I'll let you know tomorrow.
Hopefully before the meeting.
Yeah.
Future agenda items, Mr. Chairman? Or do we have anything
You
else on
you
the
need to
budget?
make a recommendation on,
Well, I can't recommend a budget until we get the numbers together, can I?
then you recommend that it goes to the board. For final. After the numbers are. The budget hearing is tomorrow
Sure,
at
right.
the board meeting.
But we don't have the final numbers.
We
on
don't
it.
have anything to recommend.
You can recommend with the adjustments of. What you talked about
Okay,
with the wage adjustments.
so I'll make a motion to recommend the wage, with the wage adjustments and the factions in here, even though it might offset our balanced budget proposal.
Mhm.
Will it or will it not?
It's. It may not.
Depending on what you look at for revenues and if there's a slight adjustments on there, right?
Right,
Cause we're talking 2,800 is what we're looking at for one, and I don't think we're gonna be seeing much more than. 3,000 or 4,000 in
right.
in.
It's only three trustee positions that
For
are
half a
up
year,
for
For
renewal.
3% on it, so I don't think that would be over $3,000.
No.
If my numbers are right, so we'd be looking at less than $5,000. I'll make a motion to approve that with the recommendation that even if we are, it'll be offset by the additional revenues that we have coming in there.
A second.
Discussion, all in favor?
I'd
Future agenda items?
like to put that Ellers on for future needs assessment, possibly in December,
Mhm.
that we can get him in to see if, talk about a timeline perhaps. And then maybe, and this might be an appropriate time too, to have a discussion next month about maybe going to a joint meeting in 2024. You know, instead of
session?
having broken up
Oh,
meetings.
work session?
Huh?
Work session?
Right.
Yeah.
Cause we're pretty much down to, we're not having significant meetings. Once we get through the budget,
Mhm.
it's gonna be pretty slow going for a while. And I think we can at least have that discussion next month. I don't wanna have it here today.
Yeah.
But I would be willing to put that on as a recommendation for finance.
For December?
Discussion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you guys okay with that?
You had with the,
I don't think we have, you know,
Nope.
no,
I just need all of that.
and then the fee schedule?
Yep.
So we got fee schedule, Ellers coming in to talk about needs assessment and,
Work
a
session.
work session, discussion, right?
Yep.
Anything else? You think of?
final motion,
Huh?
just your final motion,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 7:42 PM.
Will you put together a 3